Another anniversary of EverQuest arrives, and I'm sitting down with Jen Chan, head of Darkpaw Games, for a State of the Games address. We discuss the 2023 roadmap, EQ's 24th anniversary, the upcoming TLE and TLP servers, and what's ahead beyond 2023. The EverQuest Show starts right now.
Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter, yeah. Celebrate life and get excited about good times and good living. Come on, shout it out. Hey! Take it up, take it over, take it out of control. Today I'm freeing my soul and now you got me singing. Oh, hey!
From the EverQuest Show studios, I'm Fading, and I want to welcome you to a very special episode 17 of the EverQuest Show. In the last several episodes, I've told you the story of the past of EverQuest, how the game was made, and bringing you interviews with original developers who put their mark on the game. And there are still many stories that I want to continue to tell you, but now it's time to focus on the present and maybe get a sneak peek at the future of both EverQuest and EverQuest II. And who better to address the state of both games than Jen Chan, the head of Darkpaw Games. If you recall, before the pandemic I had a chance to visit Daybreak Games just before Darkpaw was created, and I interviewed Jen Chan. You can check out that interview in episode 8 of the EverQuest Show. But it had been a while since we chatted on camera, and I had a lot of questions. So, kind of catch me up. What's the adventure been like since you've been there in this new role, and how's that going?
So certainly the last time we spoke, a lot of things have happened. Definitely the whole transition to working from home, that was a big one. Additionally, since then, we've launched 6 expansions, 3 on EverQuest and 3 on EverQuest II, and an additional 6 game updates on EverQuest II. It's been crazy. Additionally, we released 2 different sets of vinyls. The first one being those super rare limited edition ones, which I know you have, and you have definitely highlighted on your show before. And then we also did release a nice black set, you know, for the true audiophiles to get that nice rich vinyl sound that you can't really get anywhere else. Additionally, we were bought out by EG7. That was a huge thing. And with that buyout, it's really allowed us to reinvest back into the games. You know, one of the big reinvestments from that buyout was being able to go 64-bit for EQ1 and EQ2. That was definitely a thing that we've been wanting to do for a very long time, but the math never worked out until EG7 came in and said, hey, what do you want to do to really reinvest back in the games? So that was one of our shortlist items.
So what is that 64-bit going to allow you to do? I mean, what are some of the things that that's going to allow you to do?
So it's a very technical change, right? 64-bit. Originally we were in 32-bit processes, and so that really limited us to about 3 gigs of memory on each client. So with the 64-bit, we're now pretty much unbound from any memory limitations. So we can now have higher quality textures, higher poly models, and just being able to really use a lot more memory on people's machines instead of being bound by that 3 gigabyte limit.
And will that mean less lag for the players?
It can be. It can be, but lag is always a really tricky thing, right? Because it's always a combination of so many different things. So it's not a direct, it will immediately help lag, but it can help with it.
You guys have a pretty ambitious 2023 ahead of you. You know, you've laid out the roadmap, you've kind of talked a little bit about what that is. One of the things that I think sparked the most interest from players was the UI engine update. Not only interest, but maybe you guys having to maybe make some clarifications on exactly what that means. Can you speak to that a little bit?
So with the UI engine update, so currently the UI engine for EverQuest runs on a custom engine that we have slowly improved upon, well, built and improved upon over the years. But as any custom UI modder will tell you, it's a tricky engine to work with. It is a bit temperamental. So with this new UI engine, making changes should be much easier. It should be more standard and more in line with with how people develop, UIs and websites today. Plus, with the engine, it comes out of the box native scaling and window docking support. So for those of you running those 4K monitors, you should be able to just scale the UI without having to go and get a custom UI to be able to get larger things on your screen.
And to kind of be clear on that, this is not a UI that you're going to redevelop. This is just the back-end engine, correct?
Correct. So this is the engine changing and not the actual UX experience, the user experience. So this is kind of a multi-year plan where it's like, first, let's get everything into the new UI engine. We're trying to do a one-for-one translation. So how things look, how things work in the default UI, we want it to be very similar in the port. And then once that's all converted, once everything's using the new engine and we're able to more easily make changes, then we'll actually do the hard work of, it's like, okay, how do we streamline this interface? How do we, what things can we remove that aren't needed, and what things can we add or smooth out to make it easier to use our UI?
There's a lot of back-end work that seems to be going on for both games. The DirectX 11 port is something that's on the roadmaps. Can you talk a little bit about what the goal is there?
So for EverQuest 1, the last DirectX port was in 2006. So this is really allowing us to upgrade our engines because DirectX is what sits underneath our engine, our custom-built engine. So that really allows us to use the more modern features of a newer DirectX. I don't want to go down too technical into that, but anybody can look up, it's like features of DirectX 11 and look at the comparisons. It's like, oh, now they have access to all these things.
It is an aging game, and you guys are really working in code that's been mangled and massaged and nestled in and amongst itself for the last 20 to 25 years. But there seems to be a lot of work recently on really getting the back end of the game, kind of working at optimum efficiency. How has that been as far as dedicating the resources to that, but then also trying to balance that with content?
I mean, it's definitely an interesting balance. Like I had said with the EG7 Purchase, we were able to actually outsource a lot of the very heavy lifting for these major back-end changes. So the core team working on the game, they're all still here. They're all still focusing primarily on the content and making the game, but we were able to outsource quite a bit for the 64-bit port, now with the DirectX 11, as well as the initial heavy lifting for the UI port. The actual windows will be ported, the majority of the windows will be ported by the game team itself, so they're able to concentrate primarily on the game with a little bit of management and testing and etc. with our outsourced team. So.
One of the things in the roadmap that people got excited about as well, that they get excited for every year, usually around May or June, is the progression servers. You have progression servers slated for both games. Talk a little bit about what we know so far and maybe what you can tell me.
So for the PvP TLE for EQ2 coming in April, it will be a similar experience to Terranax on day one, but with the PvP writs and server-specific rewards. So yeah, it'll be starting from fresh. We're going back to Classic, to the Shattered Lands era, and really going back to the height of PvP there. And for EQ1, the TLP for EQ in May, it's going to be an experimental year. We're trying something that we've never really done before, and if it works out, we may introduce some of it to live servers. But that's all I'm really going to tell you right now until we release the big article with all the details.
Okay, that's really exciting.
We will be announcing the rule sets for the EQ TLP server in early April. So definitely keep an eye out on our website, our forums, Discord, our social media channels.
But be sure to subscribe to the EverQuest Show, because in addition to those avenues for additional information, you know that the EverQuest Show is going to be here bringing you any information that Darkpaw sends our way. But this is the anniversary episode, so I had to ask about the 24th anniversary, and also looking ahead to next year, big milestones in the 25th and 20th anniversaries. This year is going to be a pretty big year. We're celebrating the 24th anniversary of EverQuest. What type of celebration are we expecting? What type of events, in-game items? What type of things can we look forward to?
So for this year, 24th anniversary, brand new, we have new quests and a mission. So for this year, with the quest, you'll be finding the origin of some mysterious standing stones that have been in the game for quite a while, helping out a gnome with an identity crisis, and even building a band. And then for the mission, you'll get to experience the story of the famed great war hero Retuk from the lineage of the Nock Ogre's tome. And this tome was dropped in the Serpent Sign expansion, so definitely a callback to, quite a while ago. And for everyone, we are giving away some free items, so get all your characters, log them all in, find all your accounts, log in, and be sure to get those free items.
We talked about the 24th anniversary of EverQuest, but heading into 2024, it's going to be a big year. You'll have launched the 30th expansion for EverQuest, the 20th expansion for EverQuest II. You'll be in the 25th anniversary of EverQuest. You'll be approaching the 20th anniversary for EverQuest II. That's a big year. Are you guys planning to kind of celebrate this big milestone?
Yes.
That's all you're going to give me?
That's all I'm going to give you for now.
Is it a big plan or a little plan?
There are big plans.
Okay, that's good. That's a good answer. Now, like the rest of you, I am dying to know exactly what big plans means. I have my suspicions. I also have my wildest dreams of what I want the future of EverQuest to look like. And in coming episodes, I'm going to elaborate and maybe editorialize on that just a little bit. But for now, Jen Chan was pretty tight-lipped about much of the information that I wanted to get from Darkpaw. As fans, we have pretty high expectations for EQ, and I asked her if the weight of those expectations weighed on her shoulders as the head of the studio.
I would say the toughest is being so close to seeing the community. Absolutely, I knew of all the stories before, and how people had gotten married through the game, how people have found their communities through our worlds, our games, and definitely for some people, it has literally saved their life. And being so close to that, because before I would hear the stories through the grapevine, right? But being so close to that and actually getting those messages directly and seeing such an impact, I believe that was the most surprising, to be able to get these stories firsthand instead of through our community manager or one of the producers, and being so close to the players. I think that is probably the most surprising and sometimes more difficult aspects that I don't think I was quite prepared for.
You mentioned EQ2 there, and for a while we've talked about swag. You and I have had these conversations about people want to buy things. Those vinyls sold out pretty quickly, and the shirts sold out very quickly. I know we've had plans for a swag store. What can you tell me about the status of the swag store?
We're making good progress. We're making very good progress. We were kind of stalled for a bit last year due to manufacturing issues, but we found a new vendor and we're getting very close. I don't have an exact date for when we'll be able to release it, but let's just say that everyone who plays will have something available for them.
Okay. No hints on exactly what will be included in it?
So we are planning on having t-shirts, and we'll give you a little hint with a little image in a little bit.
Okay, I'm good with that. Stay tuned for that image at the end of the interview, but in the meantime, Jen had more EverQuest II information to send my way.
I'm pleased to announce for EverQuest II that our next game update's name is officially Empire of Antiquity, and beta for that will start on March 27th.
Very cool. Any additional information as what that might allude to?
It'll be definitely a surprise when you get there. It's definitely a transformative change from what people are used to.
Let's continue to talk about, on the kind of side of branding and making sure that that legacy of the name of EverQuest and EverQuest II continues. The question always comes up, and when I pose this to the players, what would you ask of Darkpaw? And one of the things they always say is, what are the plans to expand the franchise? Can you give me any ideas or any information that you may have?
So we're definitely always talking about expanding the franchise, expanding the IP, but we're just not ready to announce anything just yet. But definitely some conversations going on, some serious conversations going on right now.
Would you say that the future of EverQuest and EverQuest II is bright?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. It is bright and shining.
Now, what could come next is the topic of a future episode of the EverQuest Show, and you'll hear Jen Chan's answer when I asked her about the future of MMOs in general and what that could look like for EQ.
I think the pillars of what makes EverQuest EverQuest will always still ring true, right? Community and teamwork, absolutely working together and building social bonds to achieve things that you can't do.
Oh, and Jen said there was a teaser for shirts for the upcoming EQ2 Swag store. This is the image I was sent. That's the EverQuest II swashbuckler icon. So does that mean that all classes will get a shirt? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But certainly an exciting prospect to get some EQ merch and to see EQ2 get some love. Well, we're just about halfway through Season 2 of the EverQuest Show, and I still have so much content that I have yet to bring you. Here's a sneak peek.
I'm Linda Carlson. I've gone by a couple of first names and several last names, and I'm a gamer. It was a little while later that I created Brass.
I'm Tom Terrazas. We were also testing EverQuest on our side. So I come in the morning, I'm like, what's that game?
A group of us devs got together and formed the Iron Toe Brigade. But we used to adventure a lot originally in Befallen, and somebody would always slip down that damn well.
Okay, so you know the deal. Make sure you click subscribe. That way you'll know when any new content or episodes arrive or potentially any exclusive information drops. Also, thank you for continuing to support the channel, liking this video and commenting. I want to hear what you guys think the big plans could possibly be. I always love to hear what you all have to say. And if you want to support the channel, continue to share these videos. It always helps out. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode for even more anniversary content.
The best we can be, and though sometimes we don't want to, still we gotta chase our dreams, reach up and reach high, because we're gonna pull through and give it all we got, even though it can seem hard to catch and make it happen, but we can't start sliding. Come on and do what you gotta do to fight on. And so no matter what comes your way, nothing can ruin your day or even wipe a smile away. And by the time I'm up and out of my bed, I got 100 new ideas floating around in my head, with the hope for tomorrow, a dream that I can see of all the awesome things, the great people we can be. Or maybe by the music or the songs that I sing, I'll change the world with the simple message that I will bring.